Hi, I'm Rebecca, and welcome to my sewing room. This is sewing. I'm really excited for this video because I finally get to actually start on this pattern with my chosen fabric. So yay. If you would like the recap of what this project is, check out last week's video because I briefly described what I was doing and then I made my mock-up and I didn't even get to start working on my shirt. However, today I am now at the point where you can see my mock-up is over there on the side, and it is the exact same as you saw it the last time. I have not added snaps. I am going to get an extra package of snaps so that I do not run out of it, because I was not completely planning on having a full mock-up shirt that I would be able to wear, so I did not get the extra snaps. However, we're going to jump right in to starting my shirt. So the first few steps of making this shirt is pretty simple, and you have seen me do it before. So I will go ahead and tell you what I'm going to do, and then I'll do it, and I'll be back to show you before I move on. Because these first few steps, once I read them to you, are pretty much self-explanatory, and if you are not exactly sure what I'm doing, I have a whole bunch of footage in previous videos of doing these exact same things. So, first step, the front, I have to stay stitch the neckline of the front, and then the back has a yoke and a back bottom, like an actual back piece of the shirt, so I have to stay stitch the neckline of the yoke. After that, there are darts in the front pieces, breast darts, so I will be doing the darts, and then the center of the back has 2 notches, and I have to gather the space between the notches and then sew the back to the back yoke, and matching up those notches so that the gathers are all even. So once I have those few steps completed, I will be back to go ahead and explain how to do the sleeves, because once we add the cuffs and the, can't remember what they call it right now, the continuous lap, that when I did my mock-up, I actually had to unpick and redo it because I did it the wrong way, because the directions, the word directions weren't clear, and then once I did it and I looked at the picture, I went, oh, that's what I did wrong. So you'll be able to see how to actually do that as I make my shirt. Okay, so I do have the back and the yoke stitched together. I have the gathering stitches. I have the darts on both of the front pieces, and it's all stay stitched. We are not to the sleeves yet, because as I was going through the directions, I thought it sounded a little odd that I would have already been at the sleeves. It's because I skipped the fact that after you put the yoke facing on the back, you have to also stitch the yoke to the back. So this is the yoke facing, because that's the inside of the shirt. This is the yoke itself. It is stitched to the, sorry, this, yeah, it is that one. This is the yoke itself. It is stitched. All 3 layers are stitched right here. There you go. You can see that. So now I have to close up the yoke, and that can be a confusing step. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that on camera. That we want to pin our front pieces to our yoke at our shoulder seam. It doesn't say to stitch it yet, but I did stitch it so that I don't have to worry about things moving. So our next step on this shirt is encasing the seams inside the yoke and the yoke facing. In order to do that, you have to sandwich the entire shirt between those two pieces, because I'm going to make like an envelope out of this and then stitch them together. So in order to do this, we have to roll our front pieces and our back piece up into the yoke. And then this is the yoke facing. Bring that up. And now you're going to match your notches and pin. If you didn't already stitch, you already have pins here, but I already stitched because I just don't like the idea of possibly messing up my layers. So okay, and now we are going to stitch both of these seams. And as I do that, I want to make sure that I squish the shirt, the layers of the shirt out of the way far enough so it doesn't get stuck into the needle. Now, in order to, goodness, in order to get everything the right way, we have to pull all of the layers of the shirt out one side. This may take some time because this is quite stiff and you don't want to obviously rip any seams that you have made. There we go. There we go. We're getting it. We're getting it. Woo. Out. And here we go. We now have something that resembles more of a shirt instead of an envelope. That's the front, and this here is the back. So the next steps to finish the yoke is I need to press it so that all of my seams are nice and crisp. And then I have to do 2 rows of top stitching across, just across the bottom here. So 2 straight rows across the bottom. And I need to stitch the layers together on the yoke. After that, I have to stitch the side seams together. To finish my open seams, I have black seam binding that I will be putting on the inside of this shirt. So, I will be going ahead and doing that, and then I will be back to continue on with the sleeves at this point, which is what I had told you before. Here we are so far. We do have, it looks pretty much the same as the last time. We've got some side seams. I did intentionally try and line them up, and it looks like I did pretty well for myself. It is pretty much lined up under the arm until we get to the yoke, and then the yoke doesn't match, but that's okay. And here are both of my inside side seams are bound like this. Okay, so the first step, here's both of my sleeves. The first step to the sleeves is stitching along these stitching lines here at the bottom on both sides of the sleeve. And then this is the continuous lap here, and there are stitching lines 1/4 inch on this side where those dots are, and 1/4 inch on this side. So that's the first step, so I'll be doing that. And then once I get all of the stitching lines stitched, I'll be clipping this between these stitching lines all the way up to the point. But then I will come back to show you, because after that we will be attaching the continuous lap to the sleeve, which is a little bit tricky on my mock-up. This is one of the parts that I had put on wrong and had to completely unpick and redo. So I will be back to show you how I do that. Alright, my continuous laps are stitched on those stitching lines, and both of my sleeves are stitched and split as they're supposed to. So the next step is on the wrong side of the sleeve, attach the continuous lap with its right side, matching the small dots. So I have a center dot here and here. I'll match that. This will get pulled straight. We'll match these dots, and we'll match these dots, and then it'll all get pinned in there. Okay, now I need to stitch along this line real quick. So far, this is what it looks like as it is stitched. And then I need to go press it. And I will press it so the seam is toward the continuous flap. I will also be pressing this side and then folding it over and pinning it this way, and then stitching along this whole line. So I will do that for both sleeves, and then I will be back to show you the finished lap and the next step of the sleeve. Continuous flap is done, so this now needs to be folded down. The pleats are over on this side, on the longer side. So the side of the continuous lap that's going to be towards the pleats needs to be folded inside the sleeve, and then this will come down and meet it, and I will press this here because it's very thick, and then I will do a few stitches diagonally from this corner off there on both of the sleeves. And then we have the soft pleats on these sleeves. So soft pleats are, you can barely see my pleat mark here. There's a pleat and there's a pleat. So soft pleats is where the pleat is to the outside. You bring the two lines to meet together, and then they go this way because that's the way the arrow is pointed. Same with this one. They go this way, and then I will pin these, and then I will baste across on both sleeves. And that's what you do with the sleeves, and then the next step will be working on the cuffs, so I will be back to show you the cuffs once these sleeves are finished. Okay, both the sleeves are done so far. I've got the pleats in. This is the wrong side of the fabric, but that's okay. So here's the pleats, here's the continuous lap, and I was next supposed to sew the underarm seams and put the gathering stitches or ease stitches in the shoulder seams. I did do the underarm seams, and those are bound, but I like to wait to put the gathering stitches in the shoulder until I get the sleeve completely finished. That way, for the most part, it's all flat and I don't have to worry about that curve. And I don't have to worry about my gathering stitches getting stuck on anything and pulled out. Because that's just frustrating and I don't want to have to deal with that when I don't need to deal with that. So, the next thing is to work on the cuffs. So, you're supposed to put let me make sure I get this right. Apply interfacing to the wrong side of the cuff. So, I have done that. This is the cuff part, this is the facing part. So this will be not touching your skin once I attach it to the sleeve. It will be on the outside of the sleeve, not the inside of the sleeve. I have pinned it wrong. I am supposed to leave the notched edge open. Obviously I've only pinned it, I have not stitched it. But I have also folded the wrong side of the facing. So I will redo this. All I have to do is press this flat and then press the notched edge down 5/8 of an inch, and then we'll trim that. Good thing I didn't trim this yet because I hadn't read the directions completely and I forgot that I needed to trim it. So I will be doing the other side. We will be stitching the unnotched side and the side edges together for the cuff. And then once I get these pinned correctly, stitched correctly, I will trim down the sides, trim the corners or clip the corners, and then turn the cuff the right way out and get it ready to attach to the sleeve. Okay, I do have my cuffs all set the way they're supposed to go. In order to stitch them to the sleeve is right side out now, and I've got the right side of the cuff to the right side of the sleeve, and it's pinned all the way around. I will now do this stitch, just straight stitch, and then once that's done, I will be folding the cuff down, pressing the seam into the cuff, and then I will be top stitching the cuff all the way around, about 1/8 of an inch from the outside edge of the cuff, and then another 1/8 of an inch further inside for the second row of top stitching. Okay, so there's my shirt so far. The cuffs are all done. They are top stitched. So nice. And obviously I put the sleeves in. They're set in sleeves, so you've seen me do that. After putting the sleeves in, the next step was to hem it before putting the front bands on. The front bands I have cut out and I have them marked, obviously. Both of them have have interfacing on the wrong side of them. But now I have a decision to make because I had to stop my sewing for a minute and run to the grocery store because I needed something for dinner. While I was there, I also wanted to make sure I had enough snaps for all of the shirts that I'm making in these next few days, week. And so I stopped in the notions area, but I also decided to check out the ribbon choices that they have, because I did get ribbon for the optional ribbon on the front band when I went to JoAnn's, and it was one that I really liked that went the best with this plaid, but I was really hoping to find mostly blue, and I couldn't do that. But I did find a mostly blue one at Walmart, so now I have to decide which one I like better and make the decision. So this is the new one, the Walmart one. And then this is the one that I got at JoAnn's. I do really like the idea of the blue, but I think this one looks better with it, so I am going to go with this. I'll use this blue one for something because I do really like this. I could accent a knit dress or something with this because it's really flexible. So I'll keep this, and you will see this sometime in the future. Okay, so now that I have my interfacing on and I have the band picked out, I have to press the unnotched side of the band under 5/8 of an inch. And then to apply the ribbon, I have to pin the ribbon to the left front band, centering the ribbon over the center front, having raw edges even. So there's a fold line in the very center of this, which I will eventually be pressing. Goodness. But then just inside, about a 1/2 inch is the center front line. And so I'm supposed to center the ribbon over that. So this will pretty much be right on where the fold is supposed to go to be centered over the center front. So I'll go ahead and get my ribbon on, and then I'll be back to show you how to attach this to the front of the shirt. Okay, so I have the ribbon on the one side of the front band. Next step is to attach the front band to the front of the shirt. So you have to match your notches, but the weird part so let me get my shirt turned wrong side out. So for the front band, you're going to have the wrong side of the shirt fabric to the right side, which would be this side of the front band. You match your notches and make a straight stitch along this edge. So I'm going to do that step, and then I will come back to show you, because the band will end, the directions say 5/8 of an inch, so we'll see once I actually get it on here. If it's actually 5/8 of an inch, it looks closer to an inch right now. But we have to stitch the bottom of this together. So I will be back once I get this stitched to show you how to do that. Here is the band after the stitching of this seam. You needed to trim the seam and then press the band out and press the seam towards the band, which I did. I did also repress at the fold line, just so everything's crisp when I go ahead and sew it. So the next step here is to basically encase the bottom of our shirt. So in order to do that, I am going to fold it at the fold line back on itself, line up down at the bottom here, It is lined up my ribbons just a little bit longer than my fabric is. Put a pin in it. And then we will stitch, do just a straight stitch straight across there. Once that is done, it just goes to the side of the other side of the front band to front band, edge to edge there, and then do a straight stitch. Then we will turn it out the way it's supposed to go, and if you need to, use a little corner tool like this to poke your corner out, and then if you need to again, and I might, because I'm gonna have to press this, fold this at your fold line, and it should go back over the stitch here. Pin that down, and then this is where you would top stitch down the side 1/8 of an inch, or down both sides 1/8 of an inch, and then a second row of stitching inside 1/8 of an inch. On this side, because I have the ribbon, I'm only going to do the one line of top stitching because I already have top stitching on my ribbon, and so I don't want to have a whole bunch of stitches here, even though it would reinforce that stitching. But on the other side, I will do 2 lines of top stitching because I don't have a ribbon on that side. Once I have my front band all stitched down on both sides the way it's supposed to go, after that we do the collar, the neckband, and the collar. So I will be back to show you that. Okay, so I have, go ahead and show you. Both of my front bands are stitched and top stitched in place. And that is the outside of both of them. So the next step is the working on the neckband and collar. So the first thing we have to do is pin the neckband to the shirt. So it does say the first step is to clip the curves of the shirt so that it can fit the band, but I do like to match up my notches and my shoulder seams first. So let's go ahead and do that. I actually need to make sure I get my dots marked on here for my shoulder seams first. All right, so it goes on the outside of the shirt. Match those notches. Put one here because I didn't clip this spot. Okay, and then I have a dot here and a shoulder seam here, so those match at the raw edges. And then a dot here and the shoulder seam here, so we'll match those raw edges. Yes, the neckband will extend 5/8 of an inch past the front band of the shirt. It's approximately 5/8 right there. And the same on the other side. Approximately 5/8. Always measure it to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not terribly worried. Okay, and now this is when I take my scissors and I clip to the stay stitching of the garment in order to pin the neckband to the shirt and allow it to lay flat. And it's all the curved edges, so really this is the only part that doesn't get clipped. So now all we have to do is stretch it out and then pin it, fill it in with pins, over pin to hold it, and do a straight stitch across. Okay, so I'm going to continue to pin this and then do the straight stitch, and I will be back for the next step. Alright, so the seam is stitched. Neckband is on. Now I need to press the neckband out and press the seam towards the neckband. And then after that is the collar, which will be to stitch the 3 outside edges of the collar, trim that seam all the way around, clip the corners, turn that right side out, and press that flat as well. And also adding the 2 rows of top stitching before we attach it to the neckband. So I will go ahead and do all of those steps and then be back to show you how we attach it to the neckband. The collar is completed, ready to go. The neckband is pressed, with it pressed, with the seam pressed up. Now, now we have to attach the collar to the neckband. So we have to have the facing side, which is the non-interfaced side, against the neckband. Here we need to match our notches. So there's one set right here. Continue to pin. Okay, so I will continue to pin this all the way across as far as it goes, and then machine baste this. And then I will be back to show you, after I do the machine basting, I will be ironing this side of the neckband facing up 5/8 of an inch and trimming that to 1/4 inch. And then I'll come back to show you how to attach that to the shirt. Collar is straight stitched right here to the neckband. So almost the final step is to put the neckband facing on, pin it all the way around these curved edges, stitch, turn that the right side out. I'll have to clip the seam as well to give me some space. Turn that right side out, press it, top stitch 1 row of stitching around the neckband, and then place those snaps on the shirt. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and by the time I get back, you will see the final product. That's the final product of my shirt. I do really like it. I need to figure out how better to measure where to put the buttons or snaps in this case, because this sleeve and this sleeve are not quite even. You can't really tell, but I can feel a difference. And even when they are where they're supposed to be, or almost where they're supposed to be, it's still a really big sleeve. I could take these off and redo them, but I'm not really all that worried about it, so I'm gonna keep them. One of the things I love about this shirt is that I chose to add the ribbon on where the buttons would actually be, but where the snaps are, and it makes it quite stiff, but not too stiff. But it's nice because it's really easy to snap and really easy to unsnap, and also because it goes all the way up, it does give it a little bit of a different and decorative touch, and I do really like that. Another thing, I do really like the space that those gathers give me in order to move any way that I need to. I had thought with my mock-up over there that I might need to add like a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch on each of the side seams, but I decided not to, and this seems to fit better than the muslin did, even though this fabric is thicker. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. This is a bit of a heavy flannel, but it'll be nice and warm on those cold days. Right now I'm just wearing it over one of my long sleeve shirts that I have made, and it's quite comfortable. It's really warm, or it's really quite chilly in this room today because it's really cold out, and I'm not any cooler than I was when I had my shawl on over this shirt and while I was finishing this. I think that's all I have for you today, other than thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked this video, and I hope you will be back to watch my future videos. Go ahead, and if you did like this video, hit that like button for me, to subscribe to my videos so you just see them on your page when I post a new video. Hit that subscribe button, and to get notifications when I post, which so far has been every Tuesday. Go ahead and hit that notification bell, and YouTube will notify you when I post a new video. So thank you for watching Rebecca's Sewing Room.